So I just watched all 3 Bad Boys movies, and now it is time to rank them. Hey, how you doing, guys? My name is Ryan Ramakrishnan. Welcome to the channel. Here I talk all things gaming, movies, and TV shows. And in the last few days, I finally watched the Bad Boys movies. So I feel like I definitely saw the first one and second one a long time ago, though I basically have no recollection of them. And I really wanted to see the newest one when it came out earlier this year. So I finally did it. I watched the first one, followed by the second, and then the third, and I love them. They are really awesome action movies. So let's rank the Bad Boys films from worst to best.
Let's try to do this right. No gunshots, no dead bodies. Well, you know, if I recall correctly, the last couple dead bad guys belong to you.
Alright, so coming in third place and last place is the first Bad Boys movie. And this is kind of where it just goes to show you the quality of these films. I think this movie is great. I really enjoyed it. And it is at the bottom because there are only 3 movies, and obviously I'm saying that the other 2 are better. I think that the first Bad Boys is very much so a 90s action movie. And Bad Boys was probably really awesome back then. I wasn't even born at that point. I think it still holds up really well. It's just a very fun movie. And the acting, as well as some of the other elements that we would see improve on in 2 and For Life, aren't as present in here. Obviously, this is really just because it is the first movie, but you know, Bad Boys does hold up, like I said, because it's just a very entertaining film. I think that Martin Lawrence and Will Smith very quickly establish how great they are together. This is kind of early in Will Smith's career, sort of, I guess, right off of Fresh Prince and stuff like that at that time. And Michael Bay was not who Michael Bay is today. I mean, nowadays, his movies are very overblown and ridiculous with all the action, for better or worse. There's no way I could say that I didn't have a great time with it. I thought it was really funny, and the story was pretty interesting, and it flowed well. I mean, I don't really think it was bad, but it just doesn't feel like it did as much as the sequels did, and that's kind of why I have to place it at the bottom.
All that was for nothing.
Wait, hold on. I mean, we did some of it.
Well, I was at a family barbecue.
Alright, coming in second place is literally the second movie. So Bad Boys 2 released in 2003, and this movie is really what you call a Michael Bay action movie. This is kind of in the earlier days before Transformers and everything else, and Michael Bay was able to give us this, and honestly, I thought that there were some awesome action scenes just leaving me with a big smile on my face, a lot of memorable moments. It is very much so like an over-the-top action movie, but in a good way. Like, I see that as a positive thing because it is just a really good time. And Will Smith and Martin Lawrence continue their charm. I think they're excellent actors, and I think they do so good in this. And it sort of follows up on the first one quite well narratively because we see that they logically are growing a little more. We see more of how they have different people in their lives being affected by them being the bad boys and going on crazy missions and all like this. Having Marcus's sister in there to sort of not only affect him and how much he cares about her, but also because Mike and her have a relationship. So there's a really interesting dynamic in there. This is just like textbook definition of a fun action movie with really awesome stuff going on in there, and it is crazy, and I had a very good time across its 2.5 hours so runtime. Loving it a lot more than the first one, despite the fact that the first one was so good.
One last time.
One last time.
So obviously, because Bad Boys only has 3 films, the best one in this list for me is Bad Boys for Life. Released in January of this year, 2020, this movie is really good at succeeding its last 2. I think that the fact that it's not directed by Michael Bay shows because it's not as sort of ridiculous and insane in the action department, but I'm not at all saying there's not good action because it's literally a very good action movie with some great shots and great epic moments and gunfights and just cool things happening as Bad Boys has established since the beginning. It is a really fun movie, but what I think that is most important to note is how it sort of matures and grows the characters, because at this point, Mike and Marcus really are family. They refer to themselves as brothers, and they say, you know, this is your Uncle Mike and Uncle Marcus and all, and it really shows because because at this point in time, they've been together for so many years. They said that it's coming up on 25 years being partners, but also just being brothers, and they've been through hell and back. It is a very mature take on them evolving and growing. Marcus knows that his career really is kind of coming to the end. He doesn't really want to do this anymore. He wants to just sit back and retire, and Mike is still that loose cannon, bulletproof Mike and all. And I think that it's really interesting, the story that they tell here, because it affects both of their lives and it brings them, back into the action, as they say, one last time. Let's just not talk about spoilers here. So let's just say that the villains have a really interesting story going on that have to do with our characters, and it is compelling a lot more than I expected. I would say that the villains in Bad Boys for Life are absolutely better than the last two. So not only does this film have the most intimate and interesting storyline of the characters, and it really just shows them both working together as brothers and having that amazing dynamic at the peak it is ever going to be probably at this point. But also we see that Martin Lawrence and Will Smith play as Marcus and Mike respectively as their own characters growing away from each other. So it all just works out super well. Great character development, very awesome action scenes. I love the ending. It is very exciting, and the side cast comes in and we get some really likable people, and I think that there is going to be a really awesome story to tell in the sequel with new faces and all, assuming we get a sequel, because it is kind of teased. So Bad Boys for Life just overall is a really good sequel. I feel like it just capitalized on what made the last two so good. And seeing as it took so many years to actually come out, I'm shocked that it is that good. I mean, granted, I didn't watch Bad Boys in 95 and Bad Boys 2 in 2003. I watched them now. Or, I was very, very young at that point when the sequel came out. So I didn't have the same experience of waiting all these years to just finally see the next one. But I feel like it really did sort of just improve on everything and kind of have a good sense of wrapping the story up. If it is the ending, Bad Boys sort of ended perfectly for me, in my personal opinion.
Shit, Mike, these are like HD.
All right, and then that is going to do it for the list, because, there are no more Bad Boys films right now. We have the first in last place, and then the second in second place, and the third in first place. So kind of just worked out. In my personal opinion, this film franchise grew and got better with each sequel. Obviously, it took many years to get this third one out, so who knows when and if the fourth one will happen, but I enjoyed the hell out of watching these movies. I'm so glad that I decided to watch them very much so consecutively in the last few days. I can officially say that they're up there with some of my favorite action movies as a big action fan. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you think? How would you rank the 3 Bad Boys movies? Which one is your favorite? So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed your time here, and I will see you all in the next video.